This episode was recorded in front of a live audience where viewers voted for the ingredients. It has been edited down from its original runtime.
We've got a box for grains, a box for dry hop, a box for adjunct, and a box for our wild card box. So we've got some real interesting options today that y'all are going to vote on, and we're going to brew a beer. What we've got over here is a Dutch oven with 1 gallon of water in it. We are currently at 167 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to be our strike water for steeping our grains. And because we need to get that started soon, we are going to start voting on grains now. Brewing a beer usually is like a half a day process, right? You've got your mash, your boil, each of which may be an hour long, sometimes 90 minutes for your boil. And then you've got to chill your wort down so you can pitch your yeast. And this can take hours. We're going to attempt to do it in just 2 hours. So we have got a beer kit here. This is a 1 gallon beer kit, and until we started planning for this episode of BrewsLab, I didn't really know that 1 gallon beer kits like this existed, and I find this incredibly silly because of how tiny and adorable it is. Look at this. Look at this little tiny beer kit. If this was wrapped under your Christmas tree, you would have no freaking clue what this was. You would think you're getting a snow globe or something. We're going to repurpose this beer kit today. It is an American classic combination of Pilsner malt, rice solids, refreshing, thirst quenching, an excellent entry into craft brewing. So the base of this beer is going to be made up of a few simple things. Rice syrup solids. It's hard to see that. Rice syrup solids, that's fermentable sugar. And Pilsen light dry malt extract. So those just need to be incorporated. We're going to incorporate them in a boil because we're going to do a bittering charge of hops. The hops that this came with was supposed to be Galaxy hops, I think, but it came with lemon drop hops. And those are going to go into our hops box and be replaced with 11 grams of Centennial hops, because we're just going to do that as a bittering charge. Oh yeah, Annie Wallace, not only is this a lot of work for like 10 bottles of beer, but wait till you see this setup that I have to brew up 10 bottles of beer. I don't even want to think about what my cost per bottle is on today's brew. It's too much. Came with some instructions that we don't need, and priming sugar, also don't need that currently. And this came with USO 5, which I think is a great choice. Other than that, that's what's in the box. No specialty grains, 1 kind of hop that's supposed to boil. Rob, tell me what you think of this. I think this is wild that it's lemon drop hops and they want you to boil it for 60 minutes. It's a long time, which I know they're trying to like do a couple of things with 1 hop, but so that's the base of what we're gonna do. And so we need to choose a grain to steep. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna 30-minute steep, because we're not trying to do like a full mash here. We're not trying to do a big sugar extraction. We're trying to get flavor out of our grains. And we're gonna steep both grains and adjuncts. So we need to vote on both of those, and I wanna get started with voting on grains immediatamente so we can get moving on this. Yeah, Rob, see, I thought the same. Like lemon drop was a weird option for a 60-minute, like it's the type of thing I think I would put in at the most at like 15 minutes before flame out, probably closer to like 5 minutes before or at flame out, so you retain some of that goodness and you're not just overwhelming it with bittering. Here are our choices. We are gonna start with biscuit. Each of these is approximately 5.5 ounces of grains. We're gonna pick from the top 2. So there will be 2 jars of grain that will go into the steep, Okay, what you choose is pretty crucial to the composition of this because there are 4 very different grains in here. So we have biscuit. This is, I think, the best smelling. Anna said she got some chocolate. To me, it smells a whole lot like honey malt, or I mean, like legit, like biscuity. It's got that almost like a sugar cookie aroma that I love. We've got wheat, as boring as it comes, but I ate one of these yesterday and it was kind of salty. It's got just a straight up bready, wheaty kind of aroma. We have got roasted barley. Look how dark that is. There are chocolatey notes in there, almost a little bit of like a coffee aromatic, like a Arabica. Smells like grains, kind of oatmeal-y a little bit too. And then lastly, we've got midnight wheat. Midnight wheat is sometimes a less bitter substitution for chocolate malt, and we learned that while making the metal mead. That's what these are actually left over from. Kind of like a dark chocolate brownie, but like a crispy, like the edges got a little burned kind of brownie. Really nice. Those are your 4 options. I'm gonna have Rob go ahead and drop the link to the straw poll and go vote. We are voting on the specialty grains for our steep, and we are choosing from the top 2 that you vote on. Funding for this show comes from our YouTube VIP members and our patrons. Those folks get to vote every week on what style we're brewing here on BrewsLab. And this week they chose beer, and we're going to make an ale, and we are trying to do this entire process in 2 hours. If we go with roasted barley and midnight wheat, we are taking what is essentially like a Budweiser or a Michelob style beer, and we are adding some real heaviness to it, which may be unpleasant. And also you have to think about the fact that we have 3 other ingredients that are going to go in here that you don't know about yet and you're going to be voting on. Biscuit malt and midnight wheat are in the lead, and I don't think roasted barley or wheat are going to be able to catch up, so we're going to go ahead and call that poll. And now we've got to vote on adjunct, because our adjunct is also going to be steeped. Adjunct brewing has been gaining in popularity basically since I became of legal drinking age. People adding all sorts of things from donuts to fruits to flower petals to their beer brewing. Adjunct brewing has I think died down a little bit, probably since COVID hit, honestly, because there aren't as many people able to go out and go to breweries and sample new weird brews that are almost intentionally created to pull people into the brewery. And so I haven't seen as much of that online. That said, we're going to do it here because it's fun. So we have to vote on adjuncts. We have chosen a selection of cereals for our adjunct, and I'm not talking necessarily about cereal grains. Hey, Rub Duck Sue. First off, we've got Raisin Bran. This is specifically Raisin Bran with toasted oats and honey. Second on our list, we've got Honey Bunches of Oats. And this one is the Honey Crunch flavor. I'm curious, chat, what your favorite cereals are. I think I'm a Honey Bunches of Oats guy. I think I've made the transition to adulthood now. Yeah, Honey Bunches of Oats is freaking bomb. Raisin Bran, Rob? I don't hate Raisin Bran. It's just like, I don't really eat raisins. I don't know. Maybe the internet has spoiled me on raisins now. Gotta support Big Raisin. Third on our list is Golden Grams, and I particularly grabbed this one because it's the retro recipe. Honey is back. So all 3 of these have honey added. Golden Grams, Honey Bunches of Oats, Raisin Bran. Lastly for our adjunct is Trix with fruity shapes. Anna and I scoured this box and could find no evidence of added honey to these Trix. You are going to vote on adjunct. There are your options there. Rob is going to throw a straw poll up in the chat so you can vote on what adjunct we're going to add to this beer. Patty Boy, thank you so much for the $10 donation. It could be good. I don't know. Now that y'all have midnight wheat in here, I don't know that Trix in a beer is going to be a real solid option, but I don't know. So it's hard to say. I think weirdly you might be right that Raisin Bran might be a good complement for these grains. I have small concerns that the Golden Grams will just obliterate in our brewing bag. And I'm just now realizing that I'm probably going to make a mess with this. Good thing we have this adorable little box down here. Biscuit's the one that you said you thought smelled kind of chocolate.
Yeah, I heard you tell them that was a lie.
I don't smell a lot of chocolate in it, but...
It smells like cacao nuts.
It smells like sugar cookies a little bit.
No.
She says no.
Can I smell it? Is it too late?
You can smell it out this box.
Yeah, it smells like cacao nibs.
I don't think so.
No, it does.
So we're adding our grains to the bag.
So does that mean it's going to be an amber?
This will probably end up like a light amber, maybe like a copper kind of color. Once we get to the end of this process, I'm gonna have Rob tell us what style we're in. Dandy Dre says, will trisodium phosphate and Trix affect yeast health? I don't know. I don't know that there's going to be enough of it in the brew to worry about that.
So did they choose Trix?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
So on here, this says it has tricalcium phosphate. I mean, it says that it's listed under vitamins and minerals. So I would think it would be fine. I have no idea. Patty Boy says, sorry this isn't relevant, but I was going to try your pineapple mead also. With secondary, would you have considered putting in actual pineapple? No. So I opened a bottle of it last night because Annie Wallace on our Discord was asking how it tasted, how it was developing. So I cracked open a bottle for her to, bye Anna, to see how it was developing. And it is incredibly pineapple-y. Honestly, I think that the things that I would do is I would back sweeten it a little bit less, because I don't like a really sugary drink, and I would probably lower the ABV closer to the 13% range. That ended up at 18%, and I think there's just it is no longer like fusily or burning. There's none of that heat, but there's so much mouthfeel from the sugars and from the alcohol, and it just coats the inside of your mouth. And if you love pineapple, you love tropical drinks, this would be right up your alley. But I think I'm more of a Tepache fan, honestly. I am using here an Inkbird. It is an instant read thermometer to make sure that our steeping water stays at temperature, and it's actually dropped to 155. So I'm going to heat that back up. It looks like Honey Bunches of Oats is in the lead. 50% more vote than the next contender. So let's go ahead and call that poll, and we're going to use Honey Bunches of Oats. It had been a while since I had looked at the prices of boxed cereals, and holy crap. Sam the Wonder Dog is going to enjoy cleaning up after me today. Those are going in the bag. Rob suggested to leave this bag real loose, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get our grain bag in here, let that start doing its magic. We have a probe thermometer. All right. Set a timer for 30 minutes. We are currently at 147 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that is going, we need to vote on one more thing, and we need to do some chores. Let's get voting started on our dry hop. We're going to dry hop this in primary using a tea bag, easy peasy, which we'll put in today, and then I will take out in 3 days' time, and then we'll let the beer finish itself up. And so we need to vote on our hops additions. I'm going to open up our hop variety handbook here. Yeah, so we're going to bitter in our boil, and we're going to bring aromatics in our dry hop. We're kind of building the plane in the sky right now, and you're voting on all of the ingredients as we put this beer together live on Twitch. First option for hops, Citra hops. Citra hops are probably my favorite hop. Just big, bright citrusy notes, zesty notes, a lot of orange and grapefruit in there. Wonderful hop. Second hop is the lemon drop hops that came with our beer kit. Lemon drop hops are just that, lemony. Thank you. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Nate Manafter, for donating $35 for a new carboy. Maybe I'll head over to the brew shop today. Thank you. And just so you know, currently you have the top donation today. The highest donation of the day is going to get to choose what goes on with our wild card box. Also, we've got in here, I have never used this one, and I'll have to look this one up. I had never heard of it. What are the odds that none of these are in the hop variety handbook? So these are French Strisselspalt. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. A noble floral nose takes over the aroma, creates a somewhat more hoppy aroma than traditional noble hops. Very mild, easy bittering, floral, pleasing on the palate. It's low alpha and low beta acid. Interesting. It says, for being grown only in France, you will find this hop used almost worldwide. Our last hop, I bought this one because reading reviews of it online were so hilarious to me that I was like, I gotta buy this one. This is Comet hops. Love it or hate it, this hop has been around for a while and has some of the most varied reviews for it online. Still found in the backyards of old school homebrewers. You consistently hear pineapple, citrus, and wild hop flavors. Others describe it as dirty and not crisp. Many reviewers say this is a very bad smelling hop. Apo says it's a great one for beer to guard and other farmhouse. That makes sense. That stylistically, that makes sense to me. So those are your options. Rob's going to drop a straw poll in the chat for you to vote on. Dandy Dre, thank you for the $10 donation. Appreciate you. That means a lot. I think at this point, y'all may have paid for the show for today. So this was brewed on episode 0 of this show. This is made with rice syrup and orange marmalade, toasted cacao nibs, and wintergreen that we brewed into a tea. So this should have some chocolatey, orangey, delicately minty, and butterscotchy flavors to it. That's our hope. Now this is fermented dry. When I checked the gravity on this, this had moved from, where do we start at? 1.072. This had gone all the way down to 1.000. So just right at the dry line. And we'll see how this goes. This was from our hooch episode. A hooch because it is a wine made with non-traditional fermentable sugars. Okay, so yeah, this is still pretty bready, yeasty on the nose. I'm not really picking up any orange or chocolate, anything like that on the nose. Interesting. This, let me dive back in here. If you told me there was cacao or wintergreen or rice syrup in here, I would not believe you. And now maybe that's because it's dry. There's no sugars in here to support any of those flavors. The tannin level is really nice. It sticks to the sides of your mouth. This tastes like a delicate, dry white wine. And I'm trying to think of what I would equate it to. I mean, it tastes like a dry table wine, like a white table wine. I'm really curious how this ends up once most of the yeast has finally fallen out of it. I think this might be a winner. Now, that said, does it taste like the ingredients we put in it? Nope, not at all. But I think part of it is that orange peel, that pithiness, gives it a wine-like character that really mimics what you get with a white wine. It's so weird and interesting. Okay, I'm here for that. Shout out to you. Rob is responsible for teaching me about this trick where you add some dental floss to a tea bag, and then you can just dangle it in your brewing liquid and leave it in there supported by the lid of your container. And then when your dry hop is done, you just pull it out. So that's what we're gonna do. Yes, Paula, it is unflavored dental floss. That's all I buy. I buy unflavored, unwaxed dental floss because I'm bougie like that. I see Science Man has just made a donation for $36. Thank you, Science Man. Appreciate you. Currently, our person in the lead for control of the wild card is Science Man with a $36 donation. Thank you very much. I think we've more than paid for the show today, so that's great. I appreciate that. That takes a load off of me. French Strizzle Spalt is in the lead with 3 votes over Citra. So I'm gonna call that, we're gonna go French Strizzle Spalt. And we are gonna use 6 grams of this hop. How many pellets do you think will be 6 grams? This smells like Independence Day. It smells grassy and bright, and there's just a little bit of firecracker on the air. 6.02, we'll take it. That looks to be about 7 or 8 pellets worth. Not much. So we're using Centennial Hops pellets for bittering. And the reason we're using 11 grams is because we're doing a 15-minute boil, which we need to get started soon. A 15-minute boil because it's in the interest of time more than anything. And we are doubling the amount of hops that we would use so we get proper bittering extraction. This is based on my conversation with Rob as well as a lot of Googling. So those need to go into our T-ball. A T-ball appears to hold about 11 grams of hops pellets. And you can see that we've been sitting at about 167. So our strike water was a little bit hot. This bag contains the 2 grains that you voted for, as well as the Honey Bunches of Oats cereal that you voted for. Hit that with just a little bit more water to rinse our grains. And then we're gonna add our fermentable sugars, our Pilsen dry malt extract. That is 12 ounces, and rice syrup solids, that is 4 ounces. So those are going to go in. We've got wild card rewards for the person who donates the most during the broadcast up until this point. Currently, that's Science Man 69 at $36. There are 4 ingredients in here, 2 of which could be used at flame out, 2 of which could be used in primary. So that is what's going on. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to one-up Science Man. Paula has donated $12 to overbid CJ, which puts Paula at $37. So Paula may be in charge. I'm going to give you 20 more seconds. It looks like Paula is in charge of the wild card. Paula, do you want to open the box? She says open the box. Okay, Paula, do you want me to open the box and talk about the ingredients before you make the decision on whether you're going to choose the ingredient? Open it, let's see what's in there. Okay. Are you sticking around for this? Okay. So there are 2 options that would go at flame out, and there are 2 options that would go into primary. At flame out, you have the choice of orange zest, grapefruit zest, or in primary, dragon fruit. You know dragon fruit costs $6.
Probably because they had to ship it across the ocean.
I think this might have been the most expensive single ingredient that I brought out today. Or 1 dry pint of fresh blueberries. Rob says, a reminder on the dry hop we're pairing with. Strizzle Spalt is a very mild hop, described as having a medium, intense aroma that is spicy, citrusy, floral, fruity, and herbal. So that is a great point. Are we boiling over?
Yeah. I'm glad I was here to
It's just because I had the lid on. Okay, let's drop that down. All right, we have hit our boil. So we are now going to add in our hops for our bittering charge. So Paula, are you choosing our ingredient, or are we going to put it to a community vote? Rob is going to choose for the team. I'm going to let y'all hash that out. Paula delegated her duties. Okay, Rob is choosing orange zest. Rob, does that feel right? Half the orange? I can tell you how much it will be because I have this fancy zester that measures. Rob says go big or go home. So the whole orange? I've never cut myself on this zester, which I think is an immediate benefit of this zester. But it also makes a really fine zest that I really like, because it's not like a zest that you're like picking out of your teeth later. See, now I just
But you did it upside down.
pooped it out. Good thing it's going into flame out. We've got down here a lot of ice and a stainless steel brew kettle that has been sitting in this ice the entire time the show has been happening. Additionally, you're probably wondering where our wild card box was. It's down here. We're transporting hearts in it today. Nah, it's full of dry ice. So what we're gonna do is we're going to pour our wort into the stainless steel brew kettle and then drop in some dry ice and get this cooled down to yeast pitching temperature quite quickly. We are going to use Anna's hand mixer to oxygenate our must before we pitch our yeast. You are going to be passengers as we pioneer a new trend in wort chilling, never before explored by rational brewers
That you know of.
that I could find on the internet. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's done it. Why is there not a movie, a Fahrenheit 451 movie that has been made anytime in the last 10 years? That could be such a cool, like, Tom Cruise-y science fiction movie. That's fair. Anna says they haven't made good movies in the last 10 years. So we're going to pull our hops out. Whoop. We're going to drop our hops in. Set that down there. Let's switch over so y'all can see what's going on. We're going to kill this, and we're going to add our orange zest. So this is going to go into the brew kettle. Ugh, it smells like hay and orange. Okay, we need to open this window or we're gonna die of carbon dioxide poisoning. Here, let's do a little ASMR. Here. It's room temperature.
That's a good sign.
Ty says that dry ice floats. I'm gonna press X to doubt. Ty says, "Oh, my bad." We're at 68. Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses? Starting gravity. 1.052, 1.045, 1.048. It was 1.040. 1.040, so we should be just above 5% alcohol, probably like 5.1, 5.2% alcohol if this ferments all the way out. Odds are it's going to end just a little bit higher than 1.000 though, because of some of the malt sugars in there that'll keep it a little bit higher. So I'm just going to put the whole thing in here, and we'll start with a very healthy cell count. The only other thing we've got to do is add our dry hop. So we'll get the dry hop going. I'm gonna go ahead and just tie that loosely to the bucket handle. Good to go. All right, so we have successfully brewed up some kind of beer. Rob, what category, if you were submitting this to competition, what category of beer would this be? Perhaps this possibly American brown? Something like that. Would the hops uses be appropriate for that style? Thank you all for watching. You can follow us on Instagram and Pinterest at Doing the Most OK. Obviously, we have a YouTube channel that's Doing the Most over on YouTube. You can find all of our stuff, all of our nonsense at doingthemost.org. Huge shout out to the folks who support this channel and to everyone who donated today. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate y'all. Thank you for donating to help pay for the show. Thank you for supporting as always. So until next time, happy brewing. Stay safe out there. Y'all are a lot of fun. I really appreciate you. I've got a large mess to clean up, so I'm gonna do that.